I'm Joanne Haroutounian, and I'm speaking to you from the corner of the keyboard. And I would like to talk today about key signatures, how to identify them and write them, major key signatures, minor key signatures, and their relationship. It might be a new approach that you might try, stemming from my theory curriculum, Explorations in Music. This is from book 5. The theory curriculum is quite extensive. It goes from book 1, which puts a note on a staff, and all the way to book 7, which is actually advanced placement things, like arranging things for string quartet. And it has a full curriculum from book 1 all the way up to book 7. But today we're dealing with one topic in book 5, and it is key signatures. At this point, students have learned how to write the sharps in order and the flats in order. So we're starting with that. In this particular lesson, they also review that. But let's start with looking at this page, which you see, and it says Guidelines for Identifying and Writing Major Key Signatures. Identify the sharp key signatures. You find the last written sharp, and then you go up half a step, or the next letter in the alphabet. So, the last sharp is D sharp, F, C, G, D, and the half step up is E, E major, or I could say D to E in the alphabet. Some students find that easier. So, that's how you identify, by looking at the last sharp and going up one note in the alphabet. To write the sharp key signatures, you follow it backwards. I want to write the key signature of E major. Let's see, E, the letter before it in the alphabet is D, D sharp. So now I write in order F, C, G, D. There you are. So you just have to know that relationship, one back in the alphabet or a half a step back. How about flats? Even easier. To identify flat key signatures, it's the next to the last written flat. So the only thing you have to know is F major only has one flat. So here, next to the last written flat, the example you see here has a B, E, A, D flat, 4 flats. So what do? The next to the last flat is A flat major, easy. Well, how do I write that? To write it, you do just the opposite. You know the order of the flats, B, E, A, D. One more than what you want. So B, E, A, D, next to the last is A. It seems to make sense and is fairly easy. If you look at the next page, you see that here the book asks for the sharps and the flats in order, and that's a good review for the students to use as a basis for what else is on the page. What they do is just ask for the following major key signatures. So right now they have one after another of identifying, not from the identifying of the key signatures, they're writing them themselves. And on the bottom, it's identifying them. So this is the lesson for major key signatures. The next one is minor key signatures. Oh my heavens, I've got to learn a whole bunch of new key signatures. No, you don't. Because you already know the key signatures for the minor. How? Every major key shares the same key signature with its relative minor. And to locate the relative minor, you go down a minor third or up a major sixth. I think down a minor third is easier. So the key signature of G major is 1 sharp. If we go down a minor third from G, we come to E. So that would be E minor and G major share 1 sharp, F sharp. Now, the key signature of F major is 1 flat. I'm going to go down a minor third and I come to D. So F major and D minor share the key signature of 1 flat. So that sharing of the relative to the major and minor is the key concept for students to understand. On this next page, I think it is a golden page to see that they really understand this idea of major and minor key signatures. If you see in the first part, number 6, they provide the major key signature identification. And then under it, blanks to fill in the minor. So now they have to manipulate that major to minor, minor third idea and put in that key. Here, they identify nothing. They're asking you to identify the major and the minor. Identify first, the major, then figure out that relationship to find the minor. Now you're starting to understand and manipulate internally that relationship. Now the next one, guess what they do? They say, only write the minor key. So now what the student has to do is figure out the major key in their head and make that relationship internally to find the minor. That is where the true understanding of major and minor key relationships come to play. And it isn't just learning things by rote around a circle of fifths. It makes them really understand. And to finish it off, it's writing those minor key signatures. Using that same idea, this page has them write the minor key signatures using that same idea backwards of finding the major and minor. And then writing major and minor on the bottom is sort of like a given of, they're giving you a little bit harder ones to figure out. Guess what this ends with? Believe it or not, the circle of fifths. So instead of it being a starting point where you have to do everything by rote and memory to figure around this little circle where that key signature would be, you know it now. You know it's solid, you know the relationship between it, and at the end, you're filling in this circle of fifths for majors and minors just as a review because you know it all. And they really understand key signatures if they go through this process. I hope you try it.